Hi, we're on Number the Stars, Chapter 6. Is the weather good for fishing? We must think what to do, Papa said. They are suspicious now. To be honest, I thought if they came here at all, and I hoped they wouldn't, that they would have just glanced around to see we had no place to hide anyone and would go away. I'm sorry I have dark hair, Ellen murmured. It made them suspicious. Mamma reached over quickly and took Ellen's hand. You have beautiful hair, Ellen, just like your mamma, she said. Don't ever be sorry for that. We're lucky we and Papa thought so quickly and found the pictures. And weren't we lucky to see Lise had dark hair when she was a baby? It turned blonde later on, when she was 2 or so. In between, Papa added, she was bald for a while. Anne Marie and Ellen both smiled tentatively. For a moment, their fear was eased. Tonight was the first time Anne Marie realized suddenly that Mama and Papa had spoken of Lise. For the first time in 3 years. Outside, the sky was beginning to lighten. Mrs. Johansson went into the kitchen and began to make tea. I've never been up so early before, Anne Marie said. Ellen and I will probably fall asleep in school today. Papa rubbed his chin for a moment, thinking. I think we must not take the risk of sending you to school today, he said. It is possible they will look for Jewish children in schools. Not go to school? Ellen asked in amazement. My parents have always told me that education is the most important thing. Whatever happens, I must get an education. This will only be a vacation, Ellen. For now, your safety is the most important thing. I'm sure your parents would agree. Papa called Mama in the kitchen, and she came in the door with the teacup in her hands and a questioning look on her face. Yes, we must take the girls to Henrik's. Remember what Peter told us? I think today is the day to go to your brothers. Mrs. Johansson nodded. I think you are right, but I will take them. You must stay here. Stay here and let you go alone? Of course not. I wouldn't send you on a dangerous trip alone. Mama put her hand on Papa's arm. If only I went with the girls, it would be safer. They are unlikely to suspect a woman with her children. But if they are watching us, if they see all of us leave, if they are all aware that the apartment is empty, that you don't go to your office this morning, then they will know. Then it will be dangerous. I am not afraid to go alone. It was very seldom that Mama disagreed with Papa. Anne Marie watched his face and knew that he was struggling with the decision. Finally, he nodded reluctantly. I will pack some things, Mama said. What time is it? Papa looked at his watch. Almost 5, he said. Henrik will still be there. He leaves around 5. Why don't you call him? Papa went to the telephone. Ellen looked puzzled. Who is Henrik? Where does he go at 5 in the morning? She asked. Anne Marie laughed. He is my uncle and my mother's brother. He's a fisherman. They leave very early, all the fishermen, each morning. Their boats go out at sunrise. Oh, Ellen, she went on, you will love it there. It is where my grandparents lived, where Mama and Uncle Hendrik grew up. It is so beautiful, right on the water. You can stand at the edge of the meadow and look across to Sweden. She listened while Papa spoke on the telephone to Uncle Hendrik, telling him that Mama and the children were coming for a visit. Ellen had gone into the bathroom and closed the door. Mama was still in the kitchen, so only Anne Marie was listening. It was a very puzzling conversation. So, Henrik, is the weather good for fishing? Papa asked cheerfully and listened briefly. Then he continued, I'm sending Ingrid and you today with the children, and she will be bringing you a carton of cigarettes. Yes, just one, he said. After a moment, Anne Marie couldn't hear Uncle Henrik's words, but there were not a lot of cigarettes available in Copenhagen now. If you know where to look, he went on, and so there will be others coming to you as well, I'm sure. But it wasn't true. Anne Marie was quite certain it wasn't true. Cigarettes were the thing that Papa missed. The way Mama missed coffee. He complained often. He had complained only yesterday. that there were no cigarettes in the stores. The men in his office, he said, making faces, smoked almost anything, sometimes dried weeds rolled in paper, and the smell was terrible. Why was Papa speaking this way, almost as if he were speaking in code? What was Mama really talking to Uncle Henrik? Then she knew. It was Ellen. The train ride north along the Danish coast was very beautiful. Again and again they could see the sea from the windows. Anne Marie made this trip often to visit her grandparents when they were alive. And later, after they were gone, she could see the cheerful, sun-tanned, unmarried uncle whom she loved. But the trip was new to Ellen, who sat with her face pressed to the window, watching the lovely homes along the seaside, the farms and villages. "Look!" Anne-Marie exclaimed and pointed to the opposite side. "It's Klampenborg and the deer park. Oh, I wish we could stop here just for a little while." Mama shook her head. "Not today," she said. The train did not stop at the small Klampenborg station, but none of the passengers got off. "Have you ever been there, Ellen?" Mama asked. Ellen said no. "Well, someday you will go. Someday you will walk through the park and you will see hundreds of deer, tame and free." Kirsty wiggled to her knees and peered through the window. "I don't see any deer," she complained. "They are there, I'm sure," Mama told her. "They're hiding in the trees." The train started again. The door at the end of the car opened and 2 German soldiers appeared. Anne Marie tensed. "Oh, not here on the train, too. Oh, they're everywhere." Together the soldiers strolled through the car, glancing at the passengers, stopping here to ask questions. One of them had something stuck in his teeth. He probed with his tongue and distorted his own face. Anne Marie watched with kind of frightened fascination as a pair approached. One of the soldiers looked down with a bored expression on his face. "Where are you going?" he asked. "Jalehi," Mama replied calmly. "My brother lives there. We're going to visit him." The soldier turned to Anne Marie and relaxed, then turned without warning and turned back. "Are you visiting your brother for the New Year?" he asked suddenly. Mama stared at him with a puzzled look. "New Year?" she asked. "It's only October." "And guess what?" Kirsty explained suddenly in a loud voice, looking at the soldier. Anne Marie's heart sank, and she looked at her mother. Mama's eyes frightened. "Shh, Kirsty," Mama said. "Don't chatter so." But Kirsty paid no attention to Mama as usual. She looked cheerful at the soldier, and Anne Marie knew what she was about to say. "This is our friend Ellen, and it's her New Year." But she didn't. Instead, Kirsty pointed at her feet. "I'm going to visit my Uncle Henrik," she chirped, "and I'm wearing my brand new shiny black shoes." The soldier chuckled and moved on. Anne Marie gazed through the window. The trees, the Baltic Sea, and the cloudy October sky passed in a blur as they continued north along the coast. "Oh, smell the air," Mama said when they stepped off the train and they made their way to the narrow street. "Isn't it lovely and fresh? It always brings back memories for me." The air was breezy and cool and carried a sharp, not unpleasant smell of salt and fish. High against the pale clouds, seagulls soared and cried out as if they were mourning. And Mama looked at her watch. "I wonder if Hendrik will be back yet. But it doesn't matter. The house is always unlocked. Come on, girls, we'll walk. It isn't far, just under 2 miles. And it's a nice day. We'll take the path through the woods instead of the road. It's a little longer, but so pretty." "Didn't you love the castle when we went through Helsingør, Ellen?" Kirsty asked. She was been talking about Krankenborg Castle ever since they had seen it, sprawling, massive, and ancient, beside the sea. From the train, "I wish we could have stopped and visited the castle. Kings live there, and queens." Anne Marie sighed in exasperation with her little sister. "They do not," she said. "They did in the old days, but there aren't any kings there now. Denmark only has 1 king anyways, and he lives in Copenhagen." But Kirsty had pranced away, skipping along the sidewalk. "Kings and queens," she sang happily. "Kings and queens." Mama shrugged and smiled. "Let her dream, Anne Marie. I did the same when I was her age." She turned, leading along a tiny, twisty street, headed toward the outskirts of the village. Things have hardly changed here since I was a girl, she said. My Aunt Giddy lived there in that house, and she pointed, and she's been dead for years, but the house is the same. She always had beautiful flowers in our garden. She peered over the low stone wall and looked at a few flowering bushes as they passed the house. Maybe they still do, but it's the wrong time of year. They are just those few chrysanthemums left. And see over there, she pointed again. My best friend, her name was Helena, lived in that house. Sometimes I used to spend the night with her, but most often she came to my house on the weekends. It was more fun to be in the country. My brother Henrik always teased us, though, she continued with a chuckle. He told us ghost stories and scared us half to death. The sidewalk ended, and Mama turned into a dirt path bordered by trees. When I walked each morning in town from school, she said, my dog followed me this far. At the end of the path, he turned and went back home. I guess he was a country dog and didn't like town. And you know what? She went on, smiling. I had named him Trofast, faithful. It was just that right name for him, because what a faithful dog he was. Every afternoon he was always right here, waiting for me to return. He knew the right time, somehow. Sometimes as I came around the bend, even today, I feel as if I might come upon Trofast waiting still, with his tail wagging. But the path was empty today. No people, no faithful dogs. Mama shifted the bag she was carrying from one hand to the other, and they walked on through the woods until the path opened to a meadow dotted with cows. Here the path skirted the edge of a field along a fence, and beyond it they could see the gray sea, ruffled by wind. The breeze moved the high grass, and at the end of the pasture they entered the woods. Again, and Anne-Marie knew they would soon be there. Uncle Henrik's house was in a clearing beyond these woods. Do you mind if I run ahead? She asked suddenly. I want to be the first to see the house. Go on, Mama told her. Run ahead and tell the house we've come home. Then she put her arm around Ellen's shoulders and added, say that we've brought a friend.